You didn't just land in the nightmare of the Warhammer 40K universe, you unlocked the secret level of suffering by becoming a friggin' Ultramarine. You're the gold standard of discipline, duty, and doing everything by the book. And here's the real kicker. You do everything right. You obey the codex. You win battles. Hell's bells, man. You even serve without question, and yet, at best, you're just a big blueberry corporate middle manager of the Imperium. And at worst, we're gonna get into that. Okay, so at first glance, being an Ultramarine might sound like a pretty badass thing. You're the finest of the Adeptus Astartes, the standard by which all other chapters are measured. Mwah. You are the pinnacle of what it means to be a Space Marine. You're not a piddly little iron hand, obsessively swapping out flesh for metal limbs like a cyborg with commitment issues. You're not a white scar, spending your days screaming across battlefields on a motorcycle like a Mad Max extra. You're not even a Dark Angel, skulking around in robes and harboring secrets so obvious that even the orcs are suspicious. Meow. Hell no, you're not, man, because you're an Ultramarine noble. You're disciplined and completely incapable of having a shred of fun. That last part, not a joke, man. Space Marines in general aren't known for their sense of humor, but Ultramarines take that to a whole new level. Everything's about duty, order, and following the Codex Astartes, a book so sacred you sleep with it under your pillow. You quote it like it's the Constitution, and any deviation from it is treated like a crime worse than putting ketchup on a Chicago deep dish pizza. No, seriously, you try that and the Imperium will obliterate you. We draw the line at pineapple and ham. You see, Grunt, the Codex tells you how to fight, how to strategize, how to eat, how to sleep, probably even how to correctly place your, ceremonial purity seals for maximum efficiency. The moment you're chosen to become a Space Marine, your fate is unfortunately sealed. There's no growing up, there's no childhood, there's no youthful rebellion, there's only training, conditioning, and surgical enhancements that turn you from a scared little recruit into a walking demigod of war. Now, most kids grow up playing video games, climbing trees, and figuring out what not to put into a microwave. You spent your youth being turned into a genetically engineered battle tank. You had your bones reinforced with adamantium, your blood infused with a cocktail of chemical enhancements, and your brain rewired to prioritize devotion, discipline, and total unwavering loyalty to the Imperium. At the tender age of 10, when most kids are getting off training wheels, you were already being molded into a living weapon. Yeah, you were taken from your home world, from whatever parents you may have had, and thrown into a brutal selection process that made gladiatorial combat look like, a casual schoolyard brawl where everybody painted their toenails when they were done. Nah, you fought, you bled, and you suffered alongside other recruits, most of whom just didn't survive. And those who did were subjected to a series of organ transplants that make Frankenstein's monster look like a minor cosmetic procedure. So first, they give you the secondary heart. Just in case your first one gets blown out by bolter fire. Then the osmedulla, which makes your bones harder than steel. The biceps enlarges your muscles, turning you into a hulking brute. The Laramans organ lets you survive wounds that would kill any normal human, while the omophobia allows you to absorb memories by eating the flesh of your enemies. Because why not turn dinner into intelligence gathering, I guess? And then comes the Black Carapace, an excruciatingly painful procedure where they embed a layer of artificial tissue under your skin so that you can directly interface with your power armor. Oh, that sounds amazing. And then finally, after years of training, bloodshed, and sleepless nights memorizing every single word of the Codex Astartes, you are officially an Ultramarine. Now, by this point, every single trace of the person you once were has been scrubbed away, your old name's forgotten, your personal ambitions no longer matter. There's only war. There's only duty. There's only the will of your Primarch, your gene father, your eternal role model. And yet, despite all that, despite the rigid training, the strict discipline, the decades of indoctrination, so intense it makes the Imperial Equestrian look like a book club, you somehow managed to go and commit the greatest sin imaginable, didn't you, kid? You go and you think for yourself, and that's mistake numero uno. The Battle of Graia should have been routine, the kind of operation that the Codex Astartes was designed for. An efficient, calculated display of ultramarine superiority against hordes of green-skinned brutes. Nothing unpredictable, nothing beyond standard combat doctrine. You drop in with your squad, bolters roaring, pew pew pew, chainsword singing, cutting through orcs with the precisions of a well-oiled killing machine. You are Captain Titus, the epitome of an ultramarine warrior leading from the front like a true discipline of Guilliman. And for a hot moment it works. Orcs are relentless, but they're also predictable. They charge, you shoot, pew pew. They scream, you countercharge, They overwhelm a defensive position, you strategically outmaneuver them and turn their victory into a mass grave. You are an artist, and war is your canvas, splattered in green blood, spent boltor casings, and the occasional explosion-induced orc giblets. And then the warp storm comes. I mean, come on, you're an ultramarine, because it's never just orcs, right? That would be way too easy. That would be manageable. Yeah, the universe, specifically the twisted, nightmarish, perpetually screeching cosmic dumpster fire that is the Warhammer 40K setting, doesn't do manageable. It does things get worse. The warp opens like a gigantic space sphincter and suddenly everything is on fire. Yeah, the sky turns the wrong color, the air smells like burning flesh and whispered blasphemy. The orcs stop fighting not because they're scared, but because they see daemons and think that it's a challenge. And then, chaos fully arrives. So a super edgelord chaos lord steps onto the battlefield on 8,000 completely unnecessary spikes, draped in a cloak made from the screaming souls of the damned, wielding a sword that looks like it's got opinions about the fabric of reality. I mean, for real, this dude makes Arthas kind of look like an emo goth teenager who's got no idea what makeup is. This dude's name is Nemeroth, and his plan is pretty simple. Steal an ancient piece of warp tech, ascend to daemonhood, and drown the world in ruinous energy. But this is not going to happen, not on your watch. Oh no, because you're Titus. So you do what you always do. You fight, you charge straight into the fray, power sword, cutting through daemons like they're made of paper mache. Your men hold the line, fighting with the precision and discipline that only Ultramarines can muster. And the battle turns into something straight out of a nightmare. Warp lightning, reality warping screams, heretics chanting in a language that makes your very bones itch. But you know what? You don't falter there, guy. You defeat him, you annihilate him, you drive your sword through his cursed corruption-laden body, and you cast him down before he can ascend to daemonhood. His soul is then devoured by the very forces he sought to control. It's like feeding a Karen to a group of Karens. Peace reigns, the warp closes, the daemons dissipate, the orcs, those that are still alive anyway, realizing that fighting Ultramarines is suddenly a lot less fun without a warp storm fueling their enthusiasm. And so the day is won. Except it kind of isn't. Because as you stand there victorious, covered in the gore of your enemies, you start noticing something strange. The looksies. Your fellow Ultramarines glance at you, at the destruction around you, and they hesitate. Because, you're standing there completely untouched. Because you just walked through warp storms, fought daemons, killed a Chaos Lord, and you're just chillin'. No mutation, no whispers of corruption, no psychic scars, not even a mild existential crisis or constipation. And that's when jerk faces start whispering. Because here's the deal. Nobody just resists chaos. Surviving direct exposure without corruption is like walking through Times Square at night and somehow not ending up in a TikTok live stream. Nobody, and I mean no one, simply shrugs off the temptations of the dark gods. One does not simply stand in the heart of the warp and walk away as if it were just a rough day at the office. Something's wrong with you. And when something seems wrong in the Imperium, there's only one response. Yeah, they don't see the hero who saved the planet. They don't see the warrior who led his men through hell and emerged victorious. No, they see something unnatural, something suspicious. And in the Imperium, suspicion is as good as guilt, so you're probably about to get old Yellard. It totally sucks, man, because your own brothers watch as you're approached by black-clad figures who speak in monotones and smell vaguely of burnt parchment and paranoia. Now, you don't resist, because you know resisting means death. And you don't protest because questioning the Inquisition has the exact same outcome. So instead of medals, instead of honor, instead of a well-earned break and a chance to clean the Daemon ichor off of your armor, you're shackled and dragged away in chains. Your charge? Heresy! For being way too good at killing chaos. What the deuce? You never go to trial. The Inquisition doesn't do trials. That would require fairness. They don't even do accusations properly. If they see you sneeze near a chaos artifact, congratulations, you're a heretic! Oh, and the moment you're suspected, you are guilty. And once you're guilty, you don't leave their grasp unless they say so. So they take you, shackled, disarmed, stripped of your armor, the same armor that bore the symbols of your service, by the way, the same armor that had protected you against a galaxy of horrors, but couldn't protect you from Imperial bureaucracy. So they throw you into a cell, a dark, damp space that's held countless prisoners before you. To the Imperium, you are not Captain Titus of the Ultramarines. You're just another name in the endless list of the Inquisition's concerns. The footsteps outside your cell echo down the corridors, punctuated by screams. Some human, some not. And then the interrogators arrive. They don't introduce themselves. They don't even ask questions. They're here for a confession. You tell them the truth. You fought chaos. You resisted its temptations. You did your duty. They nod. They listen. They turn up the pain engines, because that's exactly what a heretic would say. Well, time loses meaning. They break your body, but your will holds. You endure because, damn it, you're a space marine. But endurance means nothing really to the Inquisition. They've got time, more time than you do, that's for sure, more time than you can even comprehend. Well, days become weeks, weeks become years, the Imperium grinds on without you. Wars rage, heroes die, the galaxy burns, and you sit in the dark, waiting for the moment when they finally decide to put a bolt round in your skull. And then one day, everything changes. Footsteps, steady, deliberate, unlike the shuffling of scribes or the cold precision of interrogators. Light floods into your cell, and for the first time in years, you see him. Tall, regal, clad in armor that hums with power, his face a chiseled stone, sharp and severe, his blue eyes piercing, the weight of 10,000 years of history rests on his shoulders, and you're over there trying not to have it chubby. It's Guilliman, your Primarch, the one man in the entire galaxy who might actually be able to do something and unscrew your predicament. But he doesn't look at you, he doesn't address the chains still shackled to your wrists. His gaze is locked onto the Inquisitor beside him, the man who was, just moments ago, your judge, jury, and executioner. You imprisoned him. Guilliman's voice is calm, but in that calm is a blade sharper than any power sword. The Inquisitor stammers, mutters something about possible heresy, potential warp corruption, questionable resistance to the chaos, blah blah blah. Guilliman listens, nods, and considers the words carefully. And then he punches the dude so bleeping hard that his entire department is reorganized before his body even hits the floor. And ba-bam, baby, just like that, you are free. But not really. You're not the same warrior who fought on Gaia. The years have left some scars on your body, on your mind. I mean, you saved the Imperium and it threw you into the dark for it. But this is no time for reflection, because your Primarch has got plans for you. Yeah, you're hauled into a med bay. Before you can even comprehend what's happening, you're subjected to Primaris augmentation. More organs, whee! More power, yay! More war, hell yeah! You wake up, stronger than before, but further than ever from the man you once were. You are no longer Captain Titus. You are now Primaris Captain Titus. And that means that you're needed. No home, no rest, no peace, not even an apology, just war. Because, you know, that's what it means to be a Space Marine. This is what it means to be Captain Titus. There is no justice, there is no reward, there is no recognition, only an eternal Monday where every meeting is a battlefield and there's no coffee. For you, there is only war, and you already see the next disaster coming. But you know what, fam? You're not the only one who's been condemned to suffer the eternal yoke of the Imperium, because wait till you find out why it sucks to be born an astropath.